We have this Vizio TV, VX20L HDTV. That's the model number. It is made in 2006. So it's an old TV. It's a 20-inch. When we plug the TV to the power, we got the Vizio logo on, but I'm gonna push the power button, the one all the way here. Is not responding. I want to test some voltage because we have the standby light is mean the 5 volt is there, and we want to be sure that we have 5 volt. Strong 5 volt is not something going up and down, and there is no pins like voltage on this board marked in this board, so we are just going to check all the pins. This one no. One now. Alright, we have 5 volt here. Next is we're going to check this fuse here. So here is 5 volt. The other side of the fuse, of course, we're going to find 5 volt. The fuse is good because we have the standby light. If you don't have the standby light, check if there is a 5 volt from the power supply. Another thing, there is a lot of regulators, these chips here, this one here, this one here, this one, this one, this one here. These chips is regulators. That's the regulators that transfer the 5 volt to the other voltage as a 3.3 volt. 1.2 volt, 1.8 volt, other voltage. That's the CPU and the RAMs plus the EEPROM needs. So we're gonna look for the 3.3 volt. So this is now, we check all the pins. So that's one now. This one no. This one no. This one we have 2.8 volt here in the output. The input we have 5 volt. So this 2.8 volt, it doesn't look right. So here this one has no voltage. This one is nothing, but this one here is 2.8. It doesn't look okay. Here is in the IR receiver, the remote control receiver. We have 3.2 volt. So what that 3.2 volt come from? I don't know. This 2.8 volt, it doesn't look right to me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a 3.3 volt here from the power supply and they see if there is any change. How it's work, the power supply, it will give 5 volt to the main board. Then the main board, it will send the signal, this is the signal pin, 2 point something volt to the power board to turn on the high voltage as a 13 volt plus the inverter voltage, the backlight. So when the power on, we don't have no power. Like if I push the power button, it's not changing. We should get like 2 point something volt. So I guess it should be like this is a 5 volt. And we have the ground, and at these pins, so these 2 pins here is for the inverter signal to turn on the inverter and the high brightness, and we have 5 volt pins and we have the ground, and we have the lost pins. These pins here for the high voltage, then the signal pin. So we're gonna put it in the signal. Start up the power supply at 3.3 volt. And I put the ground in the ground, and I'm feeding the 3.3 volt. Let me push the power button. Okay, when I push the power button, we got 2.3 volt in this main board signal pin, the power on. And I think at this point we're going to have the other voltage. At the other pins, we have 12 volt. So I'm still feeding the 3.3 volt, and we may have the picture. And we do have the picture. Now the TV turns on. So the problem is in this regulator here. Like after you feed the 3.3 volt for the processor and the other to send the signal, even if you disconnect the external power supply, the TV is going to stay on, like you see now. Let's check the other. So like this regulator here, the output is a 3 volt. The input is a 5 volt. This one here is a 3.1 volt. The input is 4. This regulator here, the output is a 1.2. And the input is a 3.3. But this regulator, it doesn't give the 3 volt. So I'm going to change this regulator, and we'll see if that's going to fix the problem. Yep, that's the bad regulator. Is a EMC 1117. Test it. We plug it to the power. This one in the ground. So let's test the voltage in our regulator that we changed. And we have 3.3 volt. Yeah, now it looks right. So the input is 5. The output is 3. So I'm gonna put here, gonna check the voltage and the power on pin. Gonna push the power button. And we have 2.3 volt over there. So we have 12 volt over there. 3.3 in this regulator. 3.1 in this one. This one here 1.4. This one here 1.2. And this one here 3.3. So all the voltage, they look is good now. Let's go check to see if it's turning on. And yeah, it works. So let's turn it off and turn it on again. So it is off. And yeah, the logo is white. Yep, it works. So this is what was wrong with this this motherboard. It's a 0171-2272-2183. It was this regulator, the 3.3 volt regulator, which was bad. And I see this problem in a lot of vizios, that these regulators, they go bad. This is all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and see you next one.